The Bible begins with the words, "In the beginning, God." A timeless, spaceless, eternal being existed at the very start of things. This being, God, created the heavens and the earth. He made everything: galaxies, universes, nebula, solar systems, the sun, the moon, and the stars. He also designed and set into place the laws that would govern the motion and existence of these things, the laws of physics, the rules of logic, even time itself. And in this vast universe, he turned his attention to just one small planet, planet Earth, forming the rocks into mountains and hills, making continents and islands and covering them in grass and bushes and trees. He set cycles for the planets, so that this planet would experience day and night. Then he made the planet live. He made all kinds of living creatures, from the tiny single-celled organisms and bacteria to the birds that could fly above the ground and fill the sky, pigeons, eagles, seagulls, kestrels, toucans and hummingbirds, to the mammals, some on 2 legs, some on 4, running, walking and waddling upon the face of the earth, cats, dogs, cows, kangaroos and horses, to the fish that swarmed in the waters, some at the deepest depths of the sea, others teeming together in the lakes and rivers, pike, mackerel, herring, clownfish and cod. Then finally he said, "Let us make humans in our own image." And he created his master work, the most sophisticated creature outside of himself in his creation, man. Well, man and woman. A being who could reason, create, feel emotion and freely choose. A little bit like God himself, but on a smaller scale. And he put them in a perfect world, with endless opportunities and no dangers. And most importantly, with uninterrupted access to him, the super being, the best of the best, the awesome, powerful, kind God. They were his people, and he was their God. There was a close, loving relationship. He saw all that he had made, and it was very good. But for some reason, they used their special gift of freedom in the strangest way. They disobeyed this God. They decided that instead of recognizing the correct order of things, God is in charge, they got the feeling they could do a better job and rebelled against him. God couldn't ignore this. He loved people, but he was the ruler of the universe. He couldn't let such an act of treason go unpunished. So he did punish it, justly and fairly. He decided that if people wanted to be in charge, if they wanted to get on with things without relationship with him, they could get on without relationship with him. The relationship was broken. And he withdrew from his creation. He left them in charge of the hungry lions, the poisonous snakes, shifting tectonic plates, changing weather patterns, the meteors, solar flares, mutating cancerous cells, disease-spreading bacteria, and with their own newly corrupted hearts. People started to forget about God, but it didn't take long before they realized that something very important was missing. Something had gone badly wrong. And at that time men began to call on the name of the Lord. They wanted back into that special relationship, that close connection with the giver of life, the thing they were actually made for. But God looked at them, and God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people on earth had corrupted their ways. And he was grieved. He was sad and angry that these people he loved so much had totally wrecked their relationship with him, everything around them, and most awfully themselves. However, as they continued to call on him, he listened, and amazingly agreed to their request. He chose to reinstate the relationship. He had to plan. He would start with one man, Abraham. This man had a son, and he had a son, and his sons had sons, and hundreds of years later a nation was formed from this man's descendants. the nation of Israel. He watched over this nation through hardship and slavery, and then brought them to a place where they could have their own place to live. And he said to them, "I will take you as my own people, and I will be your God." It looked like the deal was back on, the intimate, wonderful relationship with their Creator that they were made for, and they were delighted. However, things were different from when the first people had known God. God was still God, perfect, always doing what was right, always saying and thinking what was right, always, just always truthful. But the people of Israel were very different from the first people. They were a moaning, stubborn, rebellious, deceitful, selfish bunch. So there were going to have to be conditions to this relationship. So, in the 3rd month after the Israelites left Egypt, on the very day, they came to the desert of Sinai, and Israel camped there in the desert, in front of the mountain.